So, welcome to Twins Movie Reviews.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Luke. This week we're going to be reviewing the movie Prey.
Prey was a film from the year 2022. Prey is a sci-fi action flick, and if you are not familiar with the Predator series, there's aliens, and we call them predators, and they have a weird subculture of hunting prey.
Yep.
Hunting and collecting trophies from and things like that for sport. They're just highly technologically advanced aliens that hunt things.
Yeah, they hunt sentient beings.
Yep.
So they don't hunt just normal animals in the lore. And pretty much all the movies.
Except for this one.
Except for this one. Which
we'll get into
part
that.
Doesn't make sense.
We'll get into that.
Yep.
Anyway, that's the premise, and Prey is just about them coming down to Earth from outer space in the 1700s?
1719. The
So
Great Plains.
So the early 1700s, coming down and doing the same thing that they've done in the last 4, 5, 6 movies. I'll be completely honest with you. I've seen the first Predator movie twice, I think, and the second one once, and that is it. I believe I saw Alien versus Predator. I don't remember.
Pretty good.
That was 15, 20 years ago, a long time ago in the theater. And there were 1 or 2 Predator movies after that. At least one I know a lot of people didn't like, and that's all I knew about it. So I haven't really seen a lot of them, and I haven't seen a lot of them in a long time.
I've seen all 7 of them. 7 being the Alien versus...
There's 7?
Yeah, they count the Alien versus Predators. There's Predator, Predator 2. There's Alien versus Predator, Alien versus Predator, Alien versus Predator Requiem, The Predators, which was pretty good, and then The Predator, which came out in 2018, and then now Prey.
One of those is critically panned by like everybody that they say it's the worst one, and it's absolutely awful.
The 2018 one.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It wasn't good.
Again, I haven't seen any of them, but this is basically just the next one in the Predator series. It's not really necessarily a prequel per se.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a prequel, but
prequel like it's set before time wise, but it's not a prequel like, all right, so this is going to set up what's going to happen chronologically next in Predator and then Predator 2. No, it doesn't. No. It's not necessarily connected. It's the same world. It's on Earth, and it's the Predators. That's it.
Yeah, they don't seem to have really any connection.
Yeah.
Not a logical connection, but we'll get into that.
So, this movie basically follows, is her name Naru?
Yep.
I want to say Naru, and she's the member of a Native American tribe. Indigenous people who are there is Comanches.
Yeah, she's part of a Comanche war band. I actually wrote some stuff about that.
Yep, a Comanche war band that they're there doing their own thing like you would be doing in the 1700s. And do you know where it's supposed to be roughly? It says Great Plains, so it's in America, but it doesn't say ever.
That'd be north of
where
Mexico-ish, north of Texas, kind of north Texas-ish, but then over into a little bit of Colorado, Wyoming area, and then to the, I say left, but to
the west
okay. Of the Missouri River, or Mississippi River. I get those 2 rivers confused. The one that goes next to Nebraska and Missouri.
If you want to be historically accurate or you know history, you could not like some of the things that go on it or say, wait, they wouldn't have been here or this or that. But it doesn't matter because it's these aliens are coming down. There's a tribe of these Native American people, and this girl Naru is a part of that tribe, and she has a cool dog that like helps hunt with her.
Yeah, there are 2 dogs in the movie.
Oh, I don't even remember the second.
No, one that was just kind of showing as she's walking through the camp.
So that's the general premise of the movie, and it's going to be spoilers from now on out. That's all obvious stuff, not even from trailers. That's just like hey, here's the setup for the movie. And everything is a spoiler from here on out, but let me just say, all it is it's explaining the thing that happens in, I don't know, I haven't seen all 7 movies, but that happens in each one. Predators are here, and they're here to hunt things for sport. Happens to be some primitive tribes of indigenous people, so they don't have machine guns and grenades and things like that, like they did in the first Predator movie. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the basic setup. They do a few other things that were a little confusing to me, but again, I'm not steeped in Predator lore, so I was fine with it. I didn't care. Lucas has a whole list of things that he notes that I care about you, and I'm not going to let him go through this whole list. He's going to need to just pick a few major themes from it and talk about. But that is the whole. So that's the plot of the movie that I already said. But I'm telling you, it's just exploring that as it goes. Like, oh, she's kind of shunned by her tribe a little bit, and she's like you're a girl and you can't really help or whatever. I'm like, all right.
She would have been beat up by her tribe.
Whatever. This is ridiculous, but okay. Because she's smart. She's a good thinker. Has good critical thinking skills for things. She exhibits that, and so she's the one who
want us to think she's smart anyway.
Well,
some of the stuff
she's the one who figures out, even though she doesn't know. Oh, it's an alien. It's a being from outer space that is doing it. She doesn't know that, but she sees things that are happening, sees things that it kills, or how it's operating, and figures things out.
And they don't believe her until.
It's too late.
Later on, when somebody gets killed,
everybody's dying. Yep. So the characters, the main character is Naru. That's the main character. She's this girl. She's little. She's not like big and burly or anything, even for a girl. Like, she's small.
Yeah.
And she has a cool dog that's trained and helps her. Like, she can give it commands either through word or through sign language, and it can run and do things or fetch things or whatever. It's a cool, well-trained dog. Those are the two main characters, unless I guess you could count the Predator as the third character, the antagonist, the scary, invisible monster that's killing things. Fine. Great. There are secondary ones like tribe mates, like her brother is one, and there's other people.
I liked her brother.
But those are like tertiary characters. They're not main characters at all. They're like, oh, they did this and this thing happened, and oh, then he tried to get her out of it. Whatever. It's so windy today. But yeah, they're not main characters. So those are the characters that are in it.
That's about it. I mean, the rest are tertiary. What'd you say, tertiary?
Tertiary. Tertiary's like first, second, third.
Yeah,
Tertiary's like
they're just.
Yeah, they're not.
They're there.
They're there.
They're not really fleshed out.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. So, I felt like I'll just get right into it.
She's not.
I had an issue with this movie because there was not a lot of real depth to the characters. No, there wasn't. Now, some of it was listening to. You don't hear her interact with other characters much. Her tribe a little bit, but you basically just get, no, shut up. You're a dumb girl. You need to mind your business or know your place type of thing. Oh, okay, I'm kind of down. But she's actually really smart and really capable and awesome. And she shows that because she's like, I tied this. I don't want to get into this right now, but I'm going to get into it right now. She ties this twine or rope to an axe.
Which looks different than the material that she used.
Have you seen anything Marvel with Captain America in it? His shield? It's a kind of a tongue-in-cheek comment that in the movie Civil War, so it's Captain America Civil War, and a character shows up. I don't want to do any spoilers for that, but a character shows up at one point and makes a comment about Captain America's shield. He says, that thing just doesn't obey the laws of physics at all, does it? Because it's silly, and people are watching the movies going, wait, he threw it here, but it bounced all crazy and bounced back to him. But the angles are all wrong, but it kind of floated, and other times it flies straight. It doesn't make any sense. It's adamantium. It's some special space metal.
With that, I thought maybe.
Or no, is it adamantium?
Or vibranium.
Vibranium. I'm so sorry.
See, and I thought with
nerds of the world, adamantium, you fool! That's Wolverine.
I always thought with the shield he had like some sort of homing beacon or something in it.
And something like that would make sense, like it pulls it back to him or something. He doesn't. It's just crazy and zips back to him. It's silly and it's dumb, and it was a kind of a nice nod at like, yeah, hey, it's a little silly, but that's how we're having him throw it, and it comes back to him.
I haven't seen a lot of the Marvel movies.
It was like that. But it was ridiculous. I was like, okay, first of all, you wouldn't be able to throw it well here, and it wouldn't have a lot of punching power. And this girl I'm going to be generous and say she's $110.
That's very
If
generous.
she's over 120 pounds, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, she's more like 90, 85.
She is light.
95.
She's
very
light. Even being fit, I work out with fit men and women all the time, and strength in many ways is proportionate to your size. You can be completely jacked, and if you are a 5'1" woman, I'm going to outlift you. I'm stronger
The
than you.
most I know of anybody lifting is about 3 times their own weight. Any human.
Well, it depends on how they're lifting it. Over their head, from the ground, a deadlift, a clean.
Yeah,
There's different ways, but
that's a good point. Deadlifting.
But that's just it. What I'm saying is, regardless of those things, she's small of stature, and even if she's an Olympic like level fitness,
Yeah.
like strength,
Which we don't see in a muscle tone.
there's not. But even if there was, a lot of the stuff that she does in this doesn't make sense. I'm like, I'm a 275-pound guy, and I don't know if I could have dropped and kicked this thing and gotten it to. Oh, but whatever. Fine. A lot of movies do that to where they're like, this is the hero. So even though this guy's a scrawny little whatever, he's going to be strong in this instance. This girl's scrappy, and so she was able to kick these guys' butts. No, in real life.
And these guys are at least 200 some odd pounds.
Yeah, in real life that wouldn't happen. Fine, I don't care. I'm like, ooh, she evened it out. She evened the odds by having a weapon that she's like, I'm gonna use this and throw it. But she's like angrily by herself, being like, I'm awesome and could do so many good things, and she's throwing this crazy boomerang axe around that she can throw, and it sticks in trees, and then she can pull out and it throws and smacks into another and all this stuff. That it's magically, I'm like, that wouldn't work on so many levels, and you couldn't just pull it out. And then if it has enough power to actually stick the head in there, and by the way, every time it's hitting and sticking, no, that wouldn't happen. But even if it was, you couldn't just and pull it, and then if you did, and then catch it in her hand, and even if you did, it would like, okay, that was enough force to pull it out, and let's say the rope thing didn't break, like. A bunch of stuff like that you're like, you guys are really nitpicking at this. Well, sure, but it's ridiculous.
We could nitpick a lot more.
Yes.
And they used trick photography to do the axe throwing. You can see a lot of different things like they don't when she first wanders off, I go into that. Anyway, she first wanders off. They use trick photography. You don't even see the axe hit.
Yeah.
As far as her throwing it and then it hits.
So that's the first big thing we're going to pick on is logical inconsistencies in this movie, because it's fantasy. It is a sci-fi movie. It is fantastical. It's not real. There are creatures that don't exist. That means there could be mechanics and science fiction that doesn't exist. There could be.
If they would have set it up as this is an alternate universe.
Sure.
I would have been totally fine with a lot of...
They set it up in the real world.
Yeah.
With our gravity, our physics, our everything.
And they're like, they used a historical tribe. So I'm like, so there's a lot of stuff that goes along with that. Like, Comanche, the war band, there were about 13 tribes, 13 to 17,000 of them, and of the people. And so a war band would have been hundreds, if not thousands. Her war band is maybe 80.
Yeah, I would say it was less than 100 for sure.
Yeah.
Dozens.
Yeah, there are dozens.
Now you still can say historically there could have been a group that was like that. You can make little allowances like that.
Yeah,
we're not going to nitpick at that specifically necessarily.
Only one that was out there, or two that were out there that were like really, really, really small.
On the fringes.
Fine.
Sure.
But then also the women were supposed to be, they were the gatherers and then the men were the hunters. And she wants to hunt. Her only reason that she gives is because people in her tribe don't think that she can. That's not a good reason.
I want to prove them
at
wrong.
All. Yeah, she just wants to prove them wrong. I'm like, there was a lot. These Comanches were really brutal, even within their own tribe. There were a lot of fights that broke out among themselves, and they would beat each other up for not doing their roles and different things. She would have gotten her butt kicked.
That still happens today in lots of cultures, lots of societies. Those types of things happen, but they wouldn't have stood for this. To some degree, they don't. By the way,
to some degree, they don't.
They don't in this.
To be fair,
but again, it's all like, all right, you're asking me to kind of stretch. Like, there's logical inconsistencies, and there's things that are like, historically, let's pretend I am not an American, and I don't know anything about the tribes. I don't know anything about indigenous peoples. Nothing. All right, none of that matters. That's fine. But even within that, it doesn't make sense. Some of the dynamics within that group, why it's that way. It's just, they're all a bunch of jerks. And they're what I'm like, that's weird. Why would they be that way if she's competent and is able to do this? Oh, but she knows things about some herbs, some magical herbs that are non-existent that they just make up for this movie. Again, it's in the real world, but it's a magic herb that makes your literally cools your blood, cools your whole body down. And I was like, that sounds like my wife's talked about that. She knows herbology, and it sounds like yarrow root. Like, it's a thing, but it doesn't actually like slows your heart rate and your blood gets cold.
Because the people in that were literally shivering, and they
would
have died
5 seconds after putting it in your mouth.
Yeah, and it doesn't like
your whole body's cold.
Yeah,
literally cold. By the way, so the things like that again that you're asking is just suspension of disbelief, and this is no big deal. It happens consistently throughout the movie. Those little things. So that's my first gripe is the logical inconsistency. To be
an equestrian society at this time.
Horses.
They would have had a lot of horses. They were actually raising horses, training horses, selling horses to the Spanish, things like that. So it's just like, but you only see 3 horses in the film.
Yeah, there's almost none.
Yeah.
Again, let's pretend we don't know anything about that.
Oh, except for the French have some.
They would say, let's pretend we don't know anything about that. We don't know anything about anything historical. It's still, a lot of it makes you go, wait, what? It's enough to pull you out of the movie if you get distracted by it. I wasn't trying to be distracted by it, and it would pull me out a little bit. The accent that she started doing, I was like, this is ridiculous. This is... Charlie's Angels is a movie that I'm like, it's a lot of fun, and I had fun with it, but it's like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon level martial arts that it's defying all laws of gravity. It makes no sense. This guy shot her, and she dodged the bullet and jumped out a window, and then Lucy Liu jumps up her character, and she kicks off this one. It's like, whoa, that's all wires and things, but you're expecting us to believe and act like it's like, no, this is just a really BA woman doing this thing, or this dude is super sneaky and that's how he was able to get around this. It's not realistic. And if you're saying this is a human with no superpowers, no extra suit of something that's magical, and they're just doing it,
then
you need to do it. Yeah, you need to put it that way a little bit. I get that it's a movie, and like they're like at the peak of this person's physical performance, and there's adrenaline running.
But she has no muscle tone too, so there's different things.
She's just this little thing that I'm like, she couldn't be whipping this crazy magical boomerang axe around, and then her dog, the way it acts, I'm like, even if it's trained, how would it have known to come around this thing and then it barked at a thing? Wouldn't you have it trained not to make noise? Just a lot of little things throughout that you're like, hey. And if you just shut off your brain and try and enjoy it, it's boring, kind of, in a lot of places. Yeah. It's fairly slow. You're like, okay.
And there's a bunch of editing issues. Like, we're supposed to believe that she's a really good hunter, for the most part. Well, she goes up to the log, and they didn't edit out the sound of a branch snapping as she goes up to where this deer is.
Yeah, she's a Native American. She's a Comanche who, like, I don't know anything about them. I do, but pretend I don't know anything about them. I'm like, oh, haven't I heard, like, they could walk really softly and great hunters because a snap of a twig could alert a deer, and that's your dinner, and you gotta, that you know everywhere where you're stepping and you're light-footed. No, he's crashing through.
Back to the physics thing. She's able to keep pace with a deer. While running.
If you've ever hunted, if you've ever been out in the wild,
the deer gets spooked.
I live in Nebraska, and I wouldn't say deer hunting, but sort of deer hunting one time with somebody. I wasn't even going to shoot anything. But if you've watched any wild animal that's almost anything that runs and is like, oh no, and runs, you're not even coming close to keeping up with that thing. Right. You're like, oh, it's running through the woods at 35, 40 miles per hour. It's out of here. Like, you're not catching that thing, even if you're like, I'm going so fast through the woods. To where she did, and it wasn't that thing's long gone. No, it just went a little bit, and she caught it.
Side, and she's keeping pace with this deer. And then that's when we see different slides and different things that she wouldn't have the momentum for.
There's so many things like that it's frustrating to watch a movie that it pulls you out of the narrative because I want to watch the movie for the movie. I have been told that either a lot or most or all maybe of the actors that are in this are actually descendants of, they're part of actual Native American tribes, and I'm like
she's a descendant of the Navajo tribe, I think,
which is fine.
So yeah.
And that's, by the way, that's cool. I like that. That's neat. But I don't really. I'm just watching a movie here.
They didn't. They didn't fit.
Or feel like, well, she's a woman, and so you watch what she can do, whatever. I don't care. Ripley, Ellen Ripley, in Aliens, super awesome, super cool.
In Alien versus Predator, she was a good character.
Yeah, Black Widow. There's a lot of female, like...
A lot of examples. Sarah Connor.
Awesome ones that had nothing to do with, like, oh, it's a girl, so I don't like... No, they're awesome. They're the hero and they're the protagonist.
Woohoo! Arc, a different thing.
Yeah, get them.
I think I'm going to try to put a montage here of the different...
awesome...
places where they broke physics and different things. Like
oh, boy.
When she bounces in a...
Well, if you're going to put a montage in, just do it right there. Not talk about it.
Right there. Yeah, like where her brother just gets pulled off of his horse. And
hey, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so that will bring me to the final point of that. That kind of wraps into the next point. So the first one is there's logical inconsistencies and other things that seem like, hey, that's not quite right. That's not accurate. That could potentially pull you out of the movie, but let's pretend it doesn't. And you're just like, cool, boomerang axe that she's flinging around, and ooh, she has this cool root thing that cools blood, and oh man, that brings us to the next one. Within this movie, not even just this movie, but within this movie and within this world, the world of the Predator,
right?
Beyond just, hey, you used trick shots and wires and all sorts of stuff, and this wasn't accurate, whatever. Now we're getting into, we'll say, the mechanics and science fiction and actual elements, like specific factors in the movie that were like, wait,
okay, yeah, some of his stuff was cool.
That doesn't make, some of his stuff is cool. So the Predator, so if you see the other Predator movies, 3 dots means that you're going to get blown away by a thing, but they don't, they're like, huh? He's like, what is this? Because he doesn't know what it is, even though it's just light on him, but they haven't seen lasers before. Now, I get that, and I would imagine, I don't know, I haven't seen any other people review this or say anything about that.
That reaction to it made sense.
I could see it both ways. I could be like, wait, that doesn't make sense. He wouldn't know that it was this, so why would he end up doing that? Or whatever.
Oh, I mean, when they didn't react.
Yes, but even if it was or wasn't that way, I don't care about that. What I care about is the fact that one of the key things that happens in this movie to save the day is something that happened in the first Predator movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger realized, hey, this thing sees heat signatures. That's how it literally sees. And if I can cover myself in this cold mud, it will mask my heat signature to where it could kind of see me, but not really, because there's cold mud on my body. And you see it from the Predator's point of view, and you're like, oh, there he is, kind of. But it doesn't recognize him as a thing because it's looking for lit up heat signatures. Okay, fine, that's cool. And it even talks about that, like, hey, that's imperfect because as the mud is drying on your body, it's starting to show through and you're emitting heat.
But you can suspend reality a bit.
Uh-oh. Yeah, a little bit. But you're like, uh-oh, that's happening. That's a real thing. There's this magic one that they established earlier that's like, oh, this will cool your blood. It's a magical root, plant, whatever.
Cool your blood.
Put it in your mouth and just eat it
magically
a little
heal you.
bit, and it will, in the predator vision, no heat signature at all. Your blood is cold. Your whole body is not emitting any heat at all. Magically, she knows that. Even the part where she kind of maybe could figure out that he has thermal vision wouldn't make sense for her to go, yeah, this is going to work. Maybe she just tried it on a whim, and it fine. But then you look at it and you're like, wait, so it literally cools her blood. There is no
the line of
anything out
what
there at
they
all.
call
No
it.
drug.
Succession of logic, something like
Yeah,
that.
that
Doesn't
could
make sense.
that could even do that at all.
There is none. There's no succession of logic.
If there was,
It seems.
yeah,
Like you said, she doesn't see anything that would really give her that conclusion that, hey,
there's
it's a heat thing.
there's one thing that she could draw that conclusion from, but there's a lot of little things that she's just like, I figured out this, and I figured out that, and I figured out this. That she's figuring this predator out, and I'm like, there's no way you know this at all. This is a lot. This is like a lot of jumps. Fine, but later it comes into play and saves her life that she ate this root thing, and she's like, okay, so even your breath is not warm either, apparently.
Yeah,
And so everything's cold again. Define all science, all reality. And that's how it helps. But then she's able to just like, haha, she's fine from that, and able to move around.
yeah,
after
she
that.
doesn't shiver or anything of that.
No, I think she does a little bit, but it's not
I
enough.
didn't-
It's not enough.
I didn't really see any signs of she was cold.
Your blood literally is so cold that you're emitting no heat from your entire body.
And if you've had any type of IV, gone to the hospital and they give you like a saline IV, it makes you cold a bit because there's cold liquid going through your system.
Sure.
You're going to shiver a bit. She doesn't show any of that, it seems.
It's that, and then one that I know there have to be people out there complaining about it. Again, just specific factors that are like, hey, this is a very specific point of the movie.
Well, like the people she's with, the hunting party that she trails, which starts out, it's like 4 people, and then 5, then 6, depending on
The shot, the scene, whatever. And
Anyway.
we're assuming it's like
They're supposed to be good at hunting.
5 to 10 people, and they're
1,
great
they would have
hunters.
horses, but 2, but we covered that.
we'll leave that alone.
Anyway, they're supposed to be good at, they're supposed to know even the basics of hunting, and they don't know what coming across feces means, a pile of crap means.
There's a bunch
But
of
she
stuff
knows.
like that. 'Cause she's a smart hunter. She's better than them. These guys, idiots.
Yeah, it just...
Okay. So we don't need to go point by point
No.
through everything in the movie and tell you this is what happens. We really don't.
Some of the animals...
It was not a
With
very
bad
good movie.
CGI.
If you end up liking this movie, that is awesome and it's great, and you were able to just go, hey, no, this was fun, and it was this girl, okay, here's her story, cool, boomerang axe and all these other things. Oh, and she has a special plant, she does this, and she ends up defeating the predator. Like, she wins, she survives, even though a bunch of other people have died. Great, that's the plot, that's fine. And if you can watch it for that, fine. I think the main drawback and the problem this movie has is that there are so many things that pull you out of that. Oh man, it's a tree. Oh wow, you are super lucky that there was this tree that was right here. Or wow, this thing was just in this perfect spot to where you were able to move here. Like things just like fortuitous, like line up for her.
There's so much serendipity in it.
Yeah,
It's
things
ridiculous.
just work out great,
Yep.
wonderfully. And I cannot help to say that the main thing that, even though I was like, oh man, I'm struggling through this, and I was ready to really just enjoy it and like it, is there's this thing called active camouflage. If you've played video games before, like Halo or almost any other one, active camouflage, you see somebody, you're like, ooh, they're there. I'm looking. I see their outline. It's basically high-tech stuff that is taking the technology and taking a picture of what's on the other side of you and then projecting that in front of you. So it's a little warped and it's not as smooth as if you were just looking at it.
But you still see a ripple. And
you see
outline.
ripples and outlines and stuff, and you're like, ooh, that's what active camouflage is.
Mm-hmm.
There is at least one point that's very critical, that's a key point, if not more, where
the predator just disappears.
she looks and he just disappears. He did not jump up in any trees magically, like I can jump 80 feet up into a tree or whatever. He did not, nothing. She's looking, and I'm not going to say who it is or what it is because I don't remember, because it doesn't matter. I was like, This is one of those things that you see in a movie like, oh no, the thing goes by, and then after a vehicle goes by and he's just completely gone, and they run out and they look, and they're clearly showing, I've looked everywhere and this character isn't there, and they confirm in some way or another they couldn't have jumped on, under, or over, on top of, or inside that vehicle at all. It's not the vehicle. The vehicle was the distraction that they disappeared. They didn't crawl down in the sewer. They didn't. There is literally nowhere that they can go.
Right.
And you shouldn't be nitpicking and like looking at movies for like, oh, there's nowhere they could possibly gone. The idea is that they're super, super awesome and they're a ninja or a secret agent or a mysterious whatever it is. Or maybe they're an angel and they supernaturally disappear or whatever it is. And they disappeared. I don't like ones like that where I'm like, all right, my brain just had to hold on to that for a little too long, saying there's nowhere they could have possibly gone and they just magically disappeared, because it's in a movie where supposedly physics are the physics on this world. It's real world, real life, and they actually disappeared. They didn't hide behind a thing. They actually disappeared. So that's what is happening in that scene. He's gone. There's no ripple of anything. We're the audience and we would see it.
Shot. They show a ripple.
Really wide shot.
And then a wide shot. And he's not.
He's not anywhere.
Yep.
He's nowhere. He's truly invisible. There's no active camouflage. He's truly invisible. Yep. And that was pretty key for that point. Yep. And so ones like that, I'm like, so you just changed the rules based on what you needed to happen there. Like, this girl has the most amazing armor system.
She's got plot
armor beyond.
She's been known as Dances with Plot Armor.
Seriously.
Because
plot armor beyond plot armor. Well, she's the protagonist. We have to have her live through this.
And
she would have died.
They go against the stuff that they have set up in their own movie a few different times. Like, she gets caught in a trap even though she's holding a tomahawk. The Predator's like, no, I'm not going to go after you. But later on,
you're not a threat.
Another guy's in a trap, and he has a weapon. Actually, no, he put his weapon down, and he got killed.
Yeah.
Like, different things.
Again, logical consistency is gone. But that is a specific one, a specific factor that would play directly into what's happening.
Right.
And they just break that because they go, well, we don't need him. We want him not to be around because otherwise it'll complicate this. So we have to get him killed here.
Well, yeah, and she even says earlier on that, the Predator doesn't hunt that way of getting people that are in traps, but then she uses a trap. So it's
the ultimate super trap, which again,
that was before the ultimate.
It's just like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like baiting him and trying to trap him in a thing, and the Predator's like, "Oh, wait a minute."
And then they do different.
This is a trap. Like, he's smart.
They do different technical mess ups, like this one quick one. There's a translator guy who's one of the choppers, comes into camp. His leg's partly missing, but there's no tourniquet on it or anything, so he would have bled out.
Yeah.
There's different things. And she's supposed to be some great medic, but they show her doing stuff, and it's like...
She knows super healing medicine. Wait, you didn't do that. Yeah. So, overall, here's the thing. We could nitpick at it forever. We're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up.
Because we don't have, here's the thing, we don't have anything.
She's a very unlikable character. The different stuff that happens to her wouldn't happen. Stuff that she gets rewarded with wouldn't happen.
She might be a decent actress even, actually, by the way. She might be. With the drama, like moving and stuff, and I'm trying to quiet. She's fine, actually. She's
I don't
good.
like her being a mouth breather, but that's just me. That's just my personal taste.
The actress is probably fine.
But the
character itself
is unlikable.
There's not enough dialogue going on. There's not enough that you really get a sense of the character. So all of them, just her, all of them are pretty two-dimensional.
Her character arc is very flat. There's no arc.
All the characters are two-dimensional.
I kind of like her brother because he's likable. He's trying to help her in different things.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, but even that's two-dimensional. Like, it's just all pretty flat characters, no development. But all of those characters, all that, to say she's probably a decent actress. I don't even know her name.
Yeah, she's probably all right. It's Amber Midthunder, I think is her name.
Okay. Amber, if that's her name, probably fine. I don't know. I'd have to see her in something else.
Yeah, I've seen her in something
because else. Because it's such a narrow scope that they have her operate in. I'm like, this is kind of a waste. And I get it. She wouldn't be talking for some of it. She'd be...
Which makes sense.
Figuring out this thing. Have her talk to her dog more or something then. Or
have her actually act without talking. Like, if you go and you look... One of the greatest indicators of whether or not people are good actors is if you can mute a movie and you can still kind of get what's going on.
Which I feel like you could with this
a lot
one.
of things.
I feel like you could with this one, but that's the problem. You really could probably this more than most movies, but that's just because there's
Maybe
no
in some scenes like action.
almost all of them. There's almost no meaningful dialogue in the whole movie. That's what I mean.
There's a lot of cringy dialogue.
The writing for what was written was not very good, in our opinion.
And stuff
we
is
could have
quite-
everybody in the world
dialogue's
disagree with
placed
us on
different
that,
things,
but
and, yeah, it's
it didn't make sense.
they
Anyway,
mess up the lore in at least one spot of the Predators.
I thought as a protagonist, I didn't find her unlikable, and that is saying something because there are some that I'm like, we're supposed to like this protagonist, and I don't. I didn't find her unlikable, and I even thought even after the movie, I hope to see her in other things and see how she does and see if she kind of expands. Because Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, I've seen in like 2 or 3 other things, and I didn't care as much for her character and the portrayal in Captain Marvel, but I thought she was awesome in a few other movies I've seen her in. So I'm kind of interested to see other things that this actress might do. It might be really good. But as far as overall, like the acting, I feel like maybe they were really limited by the script,
Maybe.
you know?
I thought the character was very... Like I said, that actor might be fine, but I'd want to see her in other stuff. But I thought the character was pretty unlikable because she was just really rude to everybody else.
Oh, she was abrasive, but I felt like that was more like she's got to be that way and tough because they won't give her a chance. It's that whole trope, you know.
Right.
They won't give her a chance until she's really
probably
built
wasn't
up in
the
an
actor. It was
abrasive exterior. Like
that's
that's
what I thought
it.
it was the character. But then I don't think that they had these actors get fit for the role at all because you get these guys that are supposed to be really good hunters and whatnot and great.
They should be able to run long distances for long periods of time
scrawny.
and be able to shoot bows and do things with their blades.
There's no muscle tone.
There is not. That is not just a nitpicky thing. I, being a fitness-oriented guy that I care about muscle tone and strength and things like that, and it's an actual real-world thing, I didn't say a word watching it. And the 2 guys who don't do hardly any working out or anything like that, like some walking and things just to stay relatively healthy. They don't do lifting and things. And they were like, who are these scrawny little dudes? Like, we're the hunting party. Like,
yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Even if they're teenagers and whatnot, they would still have a good...
They would have developed muscle from having to, like, okay, I have to strip the bark on this, get this leather and do... And we've got to run, do a lot of cardio, like a bunch of stuff.
They would have had a lot.
Come on. So... we could pick at a ton of things. I'm just saying that actress I didn't think was a downside, but she wasn't an upside either because I think she was limited by the scope of the movie. I thought the graphics for being 2022, surprising to me. There's like 1 or 2 I'm like, ooh, this is really cool. Great special effects. And then there were other ones that I'm like,
yeah, there were...
This lion is one of the worst
the lion was bad.
CGI lions I've ever seen.
The bear wasn't that great either.
There's just little things like that I'm like,
I think those
so
were
the effects
only
weren't
two
great, the editing
bad.
wasn't great. I think the script, like the writing, wasn't good. Overall, it was bad.
Yeah, they could have done a whole lot better with it. Because the premise is like, all right.
It's kind of cool.
But they really dropped the ball, I thought.
So, we got to rate this movie because we got to wrap up.
Yeah,
we could just go on and on about the things we don't like about it because there's a few things I did like, but I kind of brought them up. I'm like, this was interesting. It could have been good.
And the different things could have been.
But overall, no. So, what would you rate it? Go ahead.
I would rate it a 1 out of 11. And that's kind of, to me, it's being merciful. But like you brought up, some of the Predator stuff was cool. So
1 out of 11. I'm falling asleep during the movie, and I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't watch this at all. It's so boring or so dumb that it's just, It wasn't, and I've seen 1 or 2 movies since then, actually, that were definitively worse. I'm going to give this 3.5 out of 11.
All right.
And I don't think that's generous. I think a 3.5 out of 11 is fairly accurate for it. Top end would have been 5 out of 11, but there's just so many things that I'm like, no, because it's me, my personal rating is a 3.5 out of 11. So.
Oh yeah, technical.
Objective rating.
Objective rating. Maybe a 2 out of 11.
Yep. If you can turn your brain off and just go, look, it's an alien is his tribe, and just follow along with the story and watch it and enjoy it. This is probably a middle of the road movie for you, and you'd like it just fine.
Yeah, you might like it if you can just kind of take all the technical stuff out and be like, no.
And the script and the dialogue.
Yeah, and think of it as an alternate universe and all this.
Yeah.
bad editing.
Then it was a good
something else
movie.
he did. Then it was an alright movie. Yeah.
Right.
Because there were, like, I liked her brother. I kind of liked the Predator stuff a little bit, but I'm like, there was just too much in it to be good.
Boring or slow. Anyway.
Okay, so my opinion, it was like a 1 out of 11. I just did not like it. And like you said, we could just sit here all day-ish and nitpick. I mean, I printed off like 112 different things. When I went chronologically.
A lot of things that he has printed off here.
So it's just, yeah.
The trapper's aim sucks. Yeah, that's one of those, like, you're shooting at the A team, you're not going to hit anything.
Yeah, they were literally like from there to the door and missing.
And they don't upkeep their weapons, not accurate.
And the thing with the pistol, she has no experience with that pistol
She
at
would
all.
have no idea
and
how it
she
would
gets
work.
vague steps told to her by the guy, and she somehow can work this thing.
It's magical. All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this review of Prey. You can leave a comment about it if you are like, hey, I agree or I do disagree. If you have a comment, make a comment. If you liked the video, like it. If you are like, I want to see more like this, you can feel free to subscribe. You don't have to do any of those things, though.
Yep. Just do what you do.
We don't care. We do this for fun. And keep in mind, anytime we do ones, and Lucas specifically said, we should do one on a movie that we didn't like. And I think I didn't like it less than he didn't like it. Right. But we should do one on one we didn't like, because so far we just keep doing it on ones that are like, this is a great movie to varying degrees. I'm like, okay, there's worse movies out there than Prey, but then I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah, we don't want to be one of those channels that are like...
It's all negative or all just good, glowing reviews. Right. And you could totally disagree and say, oh, they really missed the mark and they thought this. I'm telling you, that's totally fine.
But do what you...
Everybody's got their own opinion, and
you can like what you want to like.
There are things that
Lucas
likes or doesn't like specifically that I'm like, I feel like it's objectively, like, truthfully, factually wrong that he thinks this thing is not good, or that he thinks this thing is good. But I've told him that before. I said, hey, objectively speaking, structurally, this is why this is amazing, and this is why it's actually good. And he can still go, I hear that, I disagree with it, I don't like it. That's called an opinion. That's your subjective opinion. See, and there's not. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes fun, and was when we disagree with people on things. So this one might be one you really disagree with, and you loved it. It just could be an 11 out of 11 for you, and you're like, what monsters? Totally could be fine. We go ahead and make that comment in the comments. I'm open to discussion about it. I like to learn.
It took me a little while to come to the realization that people can do a good job making crap.
Or try their hardest.
And
it's not good and nobody likes it. That's
the
thing.
Some movies are well-made crap, in my opinion. But they're well-made.
We'll be reviewing one that's like that next week, actually. I don't know what we're reviewing next week. That's just a little...
We're going to try to get one out
Don't say what it
next
is.
week. So... And hey, make suggestions.
It'll be a surprise for me. Yeah, if you guys want us to review a specific movie, you can make that in the comments below as well. Oh, I don't know how we ended last time, so thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. See you around.